Today we'll be talking about War Thunder's Harriest tank, the Harry Hopkins. The light tank Mark 8, also known as the Harry Hopkins after one of FDR's advisors, was produced in 1942 by the Vickers Armstrong Company during the Second World War. This would also be the final line of light tanks made by the company for Britain, and it was intended to be the successor to the Mark 7 Tetrarch. The Hopkins had several changes from its predecessor. This included having increased width, length, and weight, including the thickening of the armor. The design of the tank was sent over to the War Office in 1941 with an order for 1,000 models. However, later this number will be changed to 2,410. After that, production would begin, but would encounter many problems very early on, most of it having to do with changes being demanded by the War Office. These demands would bog down production so much that only 6 tanks were produced by 1943, and only 100 were ever made by the time production ended in 1945. A lot of this had to do with the fact that in mid-1941 the officials in the War Office and the British Army came to the conclusion that light tanks were no longer to be used in the British Army. A lot of this had to do with the fact that in mid-1941 the officials in the War Office and the British Army came to the conclusion that light tanks were no longer to be used in the Army. This was due to them having poor performance in the war. This made the poor tank obsolete by the time any were ever produced. Now in fairness, those changes demanded were intended to try to make the Hopkins remain relevant, but when ideas like including them in recon or attaching wings to them so aircraft could tow them in as gliders did not work out properly, it was pretty much over. And sadly, none were ever used in combat.